For our next snippet to look at, let's do a section column teaser. And that one does a page wide. So I'm going to go ahead and use it like this. Click our main content on our landing page. And let's go ahead and get rid of our accordion. Section column teaser. And I'm going to look for it by teaser. There we go. Get a bit of a preview here. So what we have here is we have columns. And we've got a vertical layout to the columns. You know that here. So let's insert it. Now I'm going to save and publish this real quick in its default form so you can sort of have a look. At what we're dealing with here. This is a very nice one. It's a good way to link to different sections, like say you're linking to different departments and you've got some options here for some text to support or maybe market that. You've got images that you can implement. You have the tag pill if you want it to link somewhere. And your headline can be a link as well. Note that over here, they haven't used the tag link or made the headline link. So you have some options here. You have a button up here that can link somewhere, and you've got a heading. So let's go in and see what we can do with this one real quick. Note we've got 4 columns. If we go over here and we re-enter edit mode on this, styles, we have section wrap, shape, light. That's the light gray that surrounds it. We could change that if we wanted to a different color. Maybe I'd like, let's see what black with arrows will look like. We don't need it to overlap. Sometimes you want to look at these items before you actually run them, because sometimes the text will not appear correctly. Yep, because look here. See, we lost our text. So while it all looks good, we can't use it with a link. If we wanted to have a link there, we couldn't do it. We'd have to use a different one. So let's go ahead and go back in. I kind of like that look, and I don't really need a link there. So we'll just get rid of that link when we get to the time being. I'm going to go back in here. We have our heading. This is our headline of our thing. We could have 6, change that up. And we have a horizontal layout to the items that go in the vertical columns. And there are a lot of snippets that do this. What you see in a vertical level is flattened out to be in a horizontal layout. So that can be a tricky thing for your brain to pick up on the first several times you do it, but you get used to it pretty quick. An image using the toolbar, we can change that image out just like we did in the previous one. Just select the image, select the insert edit image button. We want to give good alternative descriptions. These images, by the way, don't use placeholder. And let's see what we're looking at here. There's a keeper of the plains image. Maybe we wanted to use that. I'll insert it there. Give it an alternative. Text, the width is 800, height is 599. We got the tag button there. That's optional. For that little pill button, I don't want it. I'll delete it off. It's optional. Heading text. I don't necessarily want it to be a link. So maybe I will break the link and I could change that to read so context text. Information about the keeper of the plains. If I save this, it replaced that information. So I want you to take a look here at the relative size or shape of the image here as compared to the images and all the rest. Note here that this image is actually shorter and that these go down a little bit further. They're a little bit taller than this one. This is because these images aren't the same aspect ratio. Aspect ratio is not the size of the image. It's not the 800 by 600 pixels. Aspect ratio is the shape of the image. So for this example, this may be 800 pixels wide, but it is definitely not 600 pixels high. And because it's not 600 pixels tall, it changes the shape. The shape is different from these images. As you go through the snippet guide, you'll note that most all the snippets recommend an image size of 800 by 600. It's not just based on the size and resolution, the quality of the image as it appears on the screen. That's also because they'll all be the same aspect ratio. Since this one is not the same aspect ratio as these other images, it's not the same shape. And because it's not, it shows up as shorter. So that's something to be aware of, because if your images don't have all the same aspect ratio, you're going to end up with this look like this, where this isn't in line with this, the image doesn't end in the same space. You're always best off to go in and adjust that aspect ratio so that you can get that nice even line across. You see our information here. And maybe I don't need 4 columns. Maybe I only need 3. Let's say 2, just for fun's sake. I'll come back in and I'm going to delete 2 rows. Save it. And you see it sort of auto sizes it. It's still a row, but now it enlarges that information in text and image so that it takes up a space for 2. Maybe I wanted more than that. Maybe I wanted something like 7. We'll come back in here. And we'll delete this row because I want everything to look nice and in a row here. And I will take this row, copy it, and I want to paste row after. And we'll do that a few times here. Okay. And now I've got, let's see, 4 row. We can just keep going here. Row, paste row after. How many do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more. Save it. And you'll see here that we have the first row is 4, like before, and it created a second row, and it does 3, and it makes them equidistant from each other. So that's what it will do. You can go on and on forever with this, essentially keeping it going like that. And maybe I do want a link after all. So we'll go in here. And I'm going to change this. And it needs to be light enough that I can use it with the other. So what's a good one here? I think we'll change it to wheat and see what that looks like. That's not bad. Now I'll go back in. And note here, header buttons. This is the button that controls that button up in the upper right. Maybe I want that to be changed. I'll highlight it, select the chain. Text to display, PDF accessibility. And we'll link it to the PDF accessibility page. So it changes that button. The button is also optional. You can completely delete that out and not have anything there, and that's perfectly fine. And our heading text, We can change that. Maybe we want that. If there was an informational page to the keeper of the planes, you could do that. In this case, we'll just send it to the home page. We could send it to Web Services Home. And again, obviously, this isn't something that has to do with keeper of the planes. I'm just setting a link so you can see it. Sometimes you end up with something like this, multiple published projects. Usually it's just the one that's the first option. You can insert link, save. So we'll save this. And note that it runs page wide, and it's supposed to. And come along and look at our new version of it. There's our link. There's our link button, heading, our images, and our background. So that teaser column snippet like that is really, really useful. And a snippet like this allows you to break up when you would be linking to, say, different pages, different departments and such, and give you a visual identity you can use for those. What I like to do is if I'm using these to link to another page in the website, I will typically save a local version of the image that they're using either as their hero image or an image they're using on the page in general. And I will edit it up and use it in these image spaces because it gives kind of a continuity of the website. So say you're linking to accounting and accounting might have some students working on computers as an image there. By having that same image occur there, it sort of becomes an identifiable element of the section you're linking them to.